We'll proceed in vector summation integral. Okay, so vector summation and integral, the arena into which we have started a discussion. How we can solve a problem by dividing the problem into n different parts. So this is the discussion that we have started. Okay, how we can solve a problem by dividing the problem into n different parts and then sum all the parts. If someone has divided the problem, okay, if someone has divided the problem into n different parts, if there is a problem, divide the problem into n different parts and then solve part by part. One example I believe I had given. Consider there is a country, and in a country like this example can be taken from anywhere. Means consider there is a country like India is a village-based country, and someone is trying to find the kind of suppose that there is a village and there are n number of people in the village, n number of people. Okay, village by village, people are trying to assess disease probability. If someone is entering into the village, n number of people live in the village. Getting the out of n number of people, p number of people have disease. N number of people, out of n number of people, p number of people, they have the disease. Okay. Now, if I say out of n p number of people, they have the disease. Okay. Now, village by village, someone is checking, or rather, I would say, someone goes to a village, a person who is doing the statistics. He is going to the village and he selects n number of people, a fixed n number of people out of the village. Out of n number of people, p number of people they have the disease. Otherwise, others they do not have the disease. Okay. Now question is arising. Then he is going to another village and he get the n number of people out from there, and then p number. So n is constant. Everywhere he is going and select n number of people. N number of people is constant. Okay, and then out of then again he goes to another village and he take out n number of people. Consider 100 number of people he takes out, and their p number of people are have the disease, where p is variable. Village to village, p is variable. It may vary, but I have given a variable algebra as p. N is constant, village by village. Now, what is the average? What is the average? Now, if I do this, if in a particular district, if I do this kind of survey, then after doing the survey, then can I estimate that if I pick any random village and n number of people, then what is the average number of people I can estimate they have the disease? Question is straightforward. Like if I have if I go village by village in a particular district, and then I take consider I take some, in a particular district there is 1000 villages, 1000 villages, and then I go for 100 villages, village by village, n number of people I take out, and out of them, p number of people they have a certain disease. Okay, n is fixed that I take out, p is variable. Okay, out of 1000 villages, 100 villages, I checked it out. The question is arising that after that for 900 villages, or if I go to a state, set of district make a state, and in a state there can be many more villages. Okay, in a state there can be many more villages. Like if there are 30 districts in the state, then there can be a 30,000 villages would be there. 30,000. Okay. So now someone did the survey for 10 villages, 100 villages only. Now he has to take the medicine and so nurses, doctor, whatsoever for the checkup or vaccination whatsoever. Okay. Now if he is visiting all the villages in a one day, Consider he is going to visit 10 villages. One village has typically population of 2000 people. 2000. Then 20,000 people he has to now tackle in one day. Now, will he take 20,000 medicine with him? As per the 20,000 number of nurses, doctor, compounder, and then van and everything he will take? Certainly not. Then what he would do? He'll go to 100 first 100 villages, then he will get the statistics, and then he will try to find average number of people in a village, okay, that he can estimate that they have the disease. So now, once he made all the computation, now he knows that every village, what is the percentage that people they have the disease. Okay, what do you mean? You know, out of n there are p. P is variable. That is not constant. N is constant. P is variable. In some villages, P can be zero, which there is no one who is diseased. In some villages, P can be n. All n people are diseased. In some villages, P can be n by two. Depends. Vary village to village. If someone takes sample of 100, then how he will calculate the average? That is the question. How he would calculate the average? Okay. Now this is something that now what I have n number of people. Now break the n number of people into people by people. Take one people and then calculate the probability in him average probability of getting a disease in that person. Okay, and then sum it for all n, and then you get the average number of people. You can estimate at random that in a village what would be the percentage of people they are suffering from disease. Okay, this is dividing problem into n different parts. If I have taken n number of people to take the sample, then I can divide n number of people into n parts, people by people. Okay, I believe I have given the solution in the previous episode, that is uh, summation to integral. Someone can calculate it. Okay, now the idea is that can we use vector technology? Can we use vector technology to calculate the if I divide my problem into n different parts, then finding the solution of a particular part, can I use vector technology? If I take the people here, then I divide n number of people into people n part, then one part will be one person. One part will be one person. Okay, if one part is one person, then what is the probability of that person to catch a disease or something? So for that we have to do some probability calculation, person by person. Okay, that need to be seen. So this is typically called expectation. Expectation equal to probability. What is the probability catching disease in that person, and then what you would do with the probability. Okay, like what you would do if person is a diseased person. If you find a person, you catch one person, and what is the probability that person is a diseased person? What is the probability that person is a diseased person? Okay, inside that person there is a chance of getting disease. Chance of getting disease is p, because p is the probability. If there are n number of people, then getting the chance of getting disease in n number of p number of people have the disease. Out of n number of people, p number of people they have the disease. In one person, what is the probability of getting the disease? P by n. P by n. Okay, if getting the disease, the probability is P by n, then what is the probability that that person is disease free? 1 minus P by n. Okay, what is the average chance that he will be diseased? So there are two chances. One is disease in him is 0, and disease in him is 1, means he is 0 or 1. Okay, then there are mathematics here. One is called probability of getting zero disease. Probability of getting zero disease, and what you do. Now, if person is a diseased person, then what I'll do? If person is a diseased person, then I will I will arrange a box for him. That is a dedicated box kit that will be arranged. If it is not a diseased person, then I will arrange a chocolate box for him. If person is a diseased person, then I have a medical aid box that I'll arrange. Okay, knowing that how many diseased people I'm going to face today if I am visiting 10 villages, then that many boxes I'll arrange medical boxes. For others, I'll arrange chocolate box to encourage them. So what is the probability that person is not a diseased? That is 1 minus p by n. If that is the case, then okay, how to calculate this? This typically falls in, I believe, binomial distribution. Binomial distribution means what is the what is the I'm sorry, this will fall in Bernoulli distribution. There is another guy, Bernoulli distribution. It is something like what is the probability that person is a disease? That is n by p. What is the probability that person is not a disease? 1 minus n by p. Okay, what you want? First, I take one person and see that what is the probability that person is not a diseased person, not a diseased person. Then if that is the case, then it will come as p by n to the power 0, because 0, not a diseased person, means disease is 0. 1 minus p by n to the power 1. Okay, then you multiplied by what you do. You will bring a chocolate box for him. Chocolate box for him. You will give him 10 chocolates. Consider you give him 10 chocolates. Then it is 10. Then probability into what you would do into 10 plus medical assistance is 0 for him. So 10c, 10 chocolate you will give. Okay, next is the probability that he is a diseased person. Then it will be n by p to the power 1, 1 minus n by p to the power 0 into what you will arrange, one medical box. Okay, you sum it, whatever comes. This is the average probability. This is the average probability for the of the disease for one person altogether. And then what you do, you you do the mathematics and then add it for n people. This is the average you get. Okay, if I calculate all together without breaking into number of people, then typically it is called binomial distribution. In binomial distribution, you have to do summation. The way we did the summation I equal to 1 to n. Number of people are n. For I equal to 1 to n. It is typically called that if I am trying to calculate for the whole number of people, full n, full n, what I am saying is that I go to the one village and I take out n number of people. In n number of people, p number of people have the disease. Okay, then I go to the another village and I take out n number of people. P number of people have the disease. Now, this p can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, n. Okay, in that fashion, I have to calculate average for the everything. This is typically called that first you calculate the probability of getting 0 number of diseased people. What you will do? X into fx. Fx is the probability and x is what you will do. Please watch our previous video. This is typically falls in the getting the average number of marks in a class. What you will do? Many very detailed manner we have done it. So it is something like fx. You calculate the probability of getting 0 number of diseased people. That 0 number of diseased people. If I calculate the probability of getting 0 number of diseased people, it will be n by p to the power 0. 1 minus n by p to the power n. Okay, because all are not a diseased people. nc ncp, that is n means nc means combination. ncp, in a very detailed manner we have talked about it. ncp, p is 0. ncp 0 means it will come as 1 only. And then what you do? Summation I equal to 1 to n. Keep doing summation I equal to 1 to n. What you do with the count, if the where I is the count of diseased people, nci, what you do, that is x nci, n by p to the power I, 1 minus n by p to the power n minus I. Sum it, and what you do, you will get the what full result you will get. Okay, if what you will do, if you don't want to calculate what you will do, keep it x part as 1 1, and then you calculate, then you will get average. Otherwise, what you do at the end, you will get the full detail that how many chocolates I have to bring and how many toolkit I have to bring. Everything you will get in this one. Anyway, now we are introducing vector concept to find the one part fundamental. If I have a problem, I divide problem into n different parts. Each part I have to solve the problem, then sum it for all the parts. Each part, one part, how I will tackle the solution. Use vector. Anyone would say use vector. Usage of vector in calculating a single part. If I chop my problem into n different parts to get the single part out of it, so solution of the single part, we will use vector. Okay, in that fundamental. Okay, so we are in phase of calculating the surface area of a circle. We are in phase of calculating the surface area of a circle. Okay, this is a circle and we have to calculate surface area of the circle. Now the question is arising that how I can divide into n different parts. If I have a surface area of a circle, then how I can divide the circle into n different parts. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. Then what we do is, this is Cartesian coordinate system. Circle is in Cartesian coordinate system. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. In that manner, this is the circumference. Okay, equation of the circumference is x square, or anywhere, if it is a circle, anywhere, x square plus y square equal to a square. I believe that will fall into circumference only. X square plus y square equal to a square means this is the radius of the circle and it is a. If this is center, then this is radius of the circle and this distance is a. X square plus y square equal to a square. I take any point here. This is x-axis, this is y-axis. This is origin. If I take any point here x comma y, then relationship between x comma y will be x square plus y square equal to a square. Y equal to plus minus square root of a square minus x square. If I know x, then I can estimate. If I know the width x, then I can estimate the height as plus minus square root of a square minus x square. Okay, what is minus plus minus? Plus is plus and minus is minus. Y will be in both directions. There are 2 points for every x. If this is x, then there are 2y for each x. That's why it is plus minus. Okay, so this is the kind of equation of a circle. Now we are trying to find the area of the circle. If I'm trying to find the area of the circle, then I can embed, I can superimpose another coordinate system called polar coordinate system. If I have a polar coordinate system, then this is x-axis. If I have a polar coordinate system, then this is x-axis. This is radius, and radius is moving like this. Okay, how I divide the problem into n different parts. If I want to divide problem into n different parts, we try to find out the independent component here. That's how I divide the problem into n different parts. If I take polar coordinate system and Cartesian coordinate system, if I mix both polar coordinate system and Cartesian coordinate system together, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is Cartesian coordinate system, where y equal to square root of plus minus square root of a square minus x square. There is another coordinate system here one, that is called polar coordinate system. Consider this is radius, and radius is rotating like this, moving like this. This is 0 origin, and one line is rotating like this. Okay, and it rotates in 360 degree. If it rotates in 360 degree, then we see this is an angle. An angle starts from 0 and it moves. So there are two things in polar coordinate system. One is angle that we are seeing it is changing, whereas radius is not changing. Radius is fixed. And then we see that angle is changing. Okay, now there are two things in this hybrid model. One is polar coordinate system, one is Cartesian coordinate system. Polar coordinate system is where we have r and theta, and Cartesian coordinate system is x and y. If I talk only Cartesian coordinate system, then y is dependent upon x. Y equal to plus minus square root of a square minus x square. Keep changing the value of x, you start getting different value of y. But if we superimpose Cartesian coordinate and polar coordinate together, then x and y both are dependent component and r and theta are independent component. Okay, x equal to r cos theta, y y equal to r sin theta, means y is dependent upon r theta, x is dependent upon r theta. Now x and y are dependent and r theta are independent. Okay, there can be a scenario. Now we can safely say that r and theta are independent component if I take the hybrid model of the Cartesian coordinate system and the polar coordinate system. Okay, but there can be a scenario where r is dependent upon theta. Means theta is actually independent component. If theta is independent component, then we have theta is changing like this. Theta is changing like this up to 2 pi. It starts from 0. Theta starts from 0 angle and then it goes to 90 degree, pi, 3, 2, 3, 3 pi by 2, and then finally 2 pi, 0 degree. Okay, I can chop this angle into n different parts. This is what we are talking. Then this will be the first part, this will be the second part, this will be the ith part, and like that, n part we can say. Now in our scenario, when I am trying to calculate the area of the circle, I have to find the area of the ith section. This is the first section, this is the second section, this is the ith section. What is the area of the ith section? If I know the area of the ith section, I have to find it in a generic way so that I can generalize it for all the sections. I just add for all the sections and I get the full area. If I get, because all area are same. See, this is the first cut. I have cut this angle into n different parts. If this is first cut, what is the area? Second cut, what is the area? Third cut, what is the area? If I add all the n area, I get the full area of the circle. Rather than that, I can find any ith section area, and then I can multiply by n. Okay, then summation I equal to 1 to n. Summation is sigma. Sigma I equal to 1 to n. Sigma I equal to 1 to n, and then area A, area of the ith section, capital A and bottom right, that is also called subscript AI, area of the ith section. If I find, now concept in vector integral and vector summation and integral, I have to find this ith area through vector, not through normal way, through vector only. Okay, what we have seen till now, how I can find the ith section area through vector. If I'm trying to find ith section area through vector, then how to find the area of a vector area through vector? If I do cross product of two sides of the area, I get the area. Like if I have a parallelogram, this is one side of the area. This is another side of the area. If I calculate the cross product of these two, I get the area underneath the parallelogram. Okay, considering that the area I'm trying to calculate, it has a straight line boundary. If it is not a straight line boundary, then this is what we are trying. This does not have any straight line boundary. If I try to calculate area of the circle, I cannot do cross product of two lines. Where I'll do cross product of two lines? Okay, x axis or y axis. Okay, then angle theta and r, where I'll do? That's why we divide problem into n different parts. If I divide the problem into n different parts, we make sure that each part has a straight line boundary so that I can calculate the cross product of two vectors and I can get the area. We have talked about it in the past video. So if I try to calculate the area of the ith section, then I have this as a radius, and this is the angle. How to calculate area of this? These two are of same length. There is a third guy here. Actually, area is cross product. Even I calculate the area. Okay, we see two different components. These are same radius and radius. This will not give the area. Area will give this part, that is the arc part. So arc vector. If I have a arc vector, cross product with the radius vector would give the area underneath it. Anyway, they are perpendicular to each other. Okay, how to calculate the cross product of these two vectors? Now, this is ith part. Angle between it is delta theta I, where theta is the angle it makes with the x-axis. This line makes theta angle with the x-axis. This line makes theta angle with the x-axis. Okay, first part, second part, third part, ith part. This angle is delta theta I. If this angle is delta theta I, then I have to find a vector representation of this arc. Okay, cross product with the radius vector. Okay, now we are in phase of calculating the area. Area typical, that we will do. Area typically it has two sides. So we are thinking about one is radius and another is the arc. Arc is controlled by the theta. If this is radius, when the angle is changing, it starts forming an arc. See, it is making an arc. If it goes 360-degree, it forms a full arc. Arc is controlled by theta, where there is a radius. Okay, to get the area of this, so we will rephrase our solution now. What solution we are placing? That we will chop it to angle by angle. So we chop the angle. This is the one arena that we have seen. We are calculating the area of the ith section. Okay, in that fashion we chop the angle into n different parts. This is the one chopping. This is the ith part. As far as angle theta is concerned, this angle is delta theta. Okay, let's chop the radius now. Because we are trying to calculate the area. We need to have one area strip which has two sides. Okay, one side is angle. Angle means arc. So we got the ith arc. If I chop this angle into n part, this is the ith part. Let's chop the radius into n part or m part whatsoever. Consider break the radius into m part. M for monkey. So m part. Okay, then I take any jth part. This is the jth part of the radius and this is the ith part of the angle. If I combine two, this is the strip I am getting. Jth part of the radius and ith part of the circle. This strip is I comma j strip. Okay, if I have a circle, there is a variable component called theta. Theta proceeds from 0 to 2 pi. I cut this theta into n different parts. Then there is a radius that starts from 0 and it proceeds till a. I chop this radius into m part. If I take any 1, 1, what is part number 1, 1? 1 is angle and 1 is radius. Then angle will move first part. This is the first part of the angle. X-axis, this is the first part of the angle. What is the first part of the radius? This is the first part of the radius. Like that, there is ith part and m part. This is the section we are talking, 1 comma 1. What about 10 comma 10? Then you take the 10th section of the angle. Consider this is the 10th section. 10th section of the radius, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 9 10. This is the part we are talking. There will be m into n, small area will come into the picture. What is the net area of the circle? Then it will be summation I equal to 1 to n. Summation I equal to, we started with the single, we started with summation I equal to 1 to 1 area of the ith section. Now we are going ahead, summation of I equal to 1 to n, summation of j equal to 1 to m, area of the ith jth section. Now we have two variables here, theta and radius. If I calculate the area of theta and radius variable, we calculate the area of the ith section. Now that area I have to kind of generalize for the all I and j. We did it. Please watch our previous video. We did it. In this video, we will see that if radius is a function of theta, if radius is a function of theta, then what will be the area of the ith jth section? Okay, we have divided angle into n parts. One part is represented through ith section. We chop the radius into m part. One particular part is addressed through jth section. Then the area that is found by I comma j is represented through a I comma j. Net area of the circle is summation I equal to 1 to n, summation j equal to 1 to m, area of ith jth section. What is area of I? If I know, then I can generalize it for full. This is vector technology. Okay, if I talk in vector technology, then I have to find two vector now. One vector, if I say ith section of this angle and jth section of this radius. In vector technology, I have to find this vector and this vector. Then I'll do the cross product of these two. How to find this vector? Take these 2 points and subtract it. That will be this vector. How to find this vector? Radius vector. They take 2 points and subtract it. What is the vector equation of vector that is passing through x1, y1 and x2, y2? That vector will be x2 minus x1i plus y2 minus y1j. A vector represent connecting 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2. It will be x2 minus x1i, y2 minus y1j. That is the vector. If I know these 2 points here of the ith section, this point and this point, if I connect it, it will be a straight line. I know it will be a straight line. It will be a straight line. Then what is the vector notation of this straight line? Cross product with this line, that will be a straight line. Okay, this straight line, if this is a point, if I talk about this point, then it is at any particular angle. Consider this point radius is r1, then next is r2. Okay, if I connect these 2 points, the vector will be r2 minus r1, r unit vector. Theta will go away because theta is both same. If I talk about any point in polar coordinate system, it has r component and theta component. Since theta is angle, theta I have to represent through the length only. Theta is not a length. So if I take this point, what is this point? If I say this is r vector and this angle, it makes theta degree, then this point is r comma r theta, because it will make r theta. This is the displacement it will make. R comma r theta. This is polar coordinate system. So if I take these 2 points, subtract it, I get this vector. Their theta is constant, so theta part will go away. What is the vector representation of x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y1? If y1 y1 is there, that component will go away. It will be x2 minus x1i. There is no y. Similarly, if I try to get the vector representation on the radius side, then theta part will go away. Every point has radius and theta. Theta is same, it will go away. It will be r2 minus r1 r unit vector. Consider it is delta r. So this is delta r r unit vector. What about this? What about this? This will be this point minus this point. Or what if I am taking ith jth section? What about this line? This point is R1. This point is R comma R theta, and this is delta theta I. That this point is R comma R theta plus delta theta I, theta unit vector. R comma R in bracket theta plus delta theta I. Every point in polar coordinate system has R and theta. Theta is represented through the arc length, not only by theta, because it is a displacement. It should be displacement. R is displacement. If I take any point in Cartesian coordinate system, x and y, both are distance. No, nothing is angle here. Similarly, if I take any point in polar coordinate system, then if it is r, then another one should be distance only. Then it will be r theta. Okay, if I take pure polar coordinate system where this is theta and this is r, then I can take any point at r comma theta. But we are inside Cartesian coordinate system. Polar coordinate system is superimposed, forced on the Cartesian coordinate system. In that fashion, any point will be r comma r theta, not r comma theta, because we are talking about distance. Okay, in that fashion, if I say r comma r theta, then this point is r comma r theta. This point is r comma r theta plus delta theta. This vector will be r will go away, r will go away, and it will be r delta theta. So this vector is delta r unit vector, and this vector is r delta theta I theta unit vector. Okay, then area will be cross product of these two vectors. It will become r delta theta delta r, and then we have to sum it like this. This we have already seen. What is next here? Consider r is a function over theta. Okay, what do you mean? I have this also many times we have talked. Consider r is a function over theta. I have a circle equation as r equal to cos theta or r equal to sin theta. Here origin of the circle is here. This is the origin of the circle. This is origin of the circle. Okay, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Origin is here, not here. Okay, r equal to cos theta will form a circle like this. Anyone can try. If theta is 0, r is 1. When theta is growing, r is reducing. You can see this. This is the r. R slowly it is reducing. R had come to this level only. This is the r. Initially, r is big. This is the r. Now, as theta is growing, r is shrinking. When theta is 90 degree, r is completely 0. Beyond 90 degree, then r will start growing again. When theta is 180 degree, then r will be minus 1. R equal to cos theta, r will be minus 1. So, r will be minus 1. Okay, radius cannot be minus. X can be minor, radius cannot be minor. If I want radius plus, then I have to go in opposite direction. If I grow in theta and radius, again from 0 it start growing, but in negative I have to take other side of it. If this is the radius in negative, this is the radius in positive. Means if this is the radius direction in negative, then opposite this is the radius direction of positive. Means as angle is growing, then radius is growing in this direction and it forms a circle. What is area of this circle? If someone is watching minutely, then this circle has actually in Cartesian coordinate system, this circle has a center here and radius is half. But as per the polar coordinate system, origin is here and radius is here, but it is going only pi angle, not 2 pi angle, and it forms a circle. What is area of this circle? In that fashion, we will rephrase this question, the answer. Now we have summation I equal to 1 to n, summation j equal to 1 to m, area of the IHJF section. Area of the IHJF section, if we are talking, area of the IHJF section, if we are talking, this is the JF section on radius, and this is the IS section. If I chop the radius into m part, this is the JF section. If I chop this angle into n part, this is the IS section. This is the jth IS section strip. Summation I equal to 1 to n, summation j equal to 1 to m, area of the IS section. If I add all, I get the full area. Now here, radius is function over theta. Radius is not constant the way we were thinking. What it will be? Okay, it will be same. Same means it will be This arc vector cross product with the radius vector. This is radius vector and this is arc vector. Okay, here if I chop into m part, the size will be bigger. If I grow in angle, radius will become smaller after some time. See, if I grow in the radius angle, radius is becoming smaller. Okay, if it is becoming smaller, m part with the size of m part will be smaller. It will give a different kind of area shape. Makes sense? If I chop a small radius into m part, each part each part will have width of small. If I chop bigger length into n part, into m part, each part will be have bigger width. If I connect jth section, this is small and big, it will be like this. Okay, and this. So when angle is varying, radius is also varying. What is the area of this? This will be again cross product of this vector and radius vector. Radius vector is delta r that we saw, and this vector is r. This now radius vector if I take here, theta is not growing, so it will be delta r unit vector. That is the radius vector. That is for sure. Cross product. Cross product. I'm sorry. It is delta delta r. Theta is constant. If I take the radius vector. What about another one? Okay, what about the another one? Another one we have like another vector. If I take, then it is the vector along the arc. Vector along the arc. If I take the vector along the arc, then what is this point? Okay, this point and this point. If I connect like this, consider the same thing we are taking now. What we took in earlier, delta r unit vector cross product with the, consider this length is r. What is this arc? What is this arc? That is under the question. What is this arc? If I calculate this arc vector, I have to take these 2 points and calculate the vector of it. This point if I take, then this is r. Then this point is r comma r theta. This point is r comma r theta. If I take this point is this point I have chopped into m part. I have chopped into m part. This point if I take, this point is this point. Okay, let's go with it. We will see more on it. Let's go with it. How it is different to calculate the area when radius is not varying if I move the angle. When radius is varying if I move the angle. Let's go with the same vector what we did. Earlier we did delta r unit vector, that is the radius vector. And the arc vector we took as r delta theta unit vector. Considering that r is here, the r is constant. Considering r is constant, let's go by it. We will talk more on it. If I do cross product, then it will result in r delta theta delta r. This is radius vector, delta r unit vector. This is arc vector, r into delta theta unit vector. Considering r is not changing. Right now, considering r is not changing. This is what we consider. If I try to get the vector connecting these 2 points, this is r comma r theta. This is r comma r theta plus delta theta. In that sense, this vector will be r delta theta unit vector. If I do cross product of these two vectors, I'll get the area of the ith section. Okay, we have delta r of the jth section, r unit vector. We have r delta theta I of the ith section. Okay, theta unit vector. If I do cross product, I'll get the area of the ith section. The area of the ith section will be r into delta theta I into delta rj. Okay, that it will be. Okay, now we have summation I equal to 1 to n, summation j equal to 1 to m, and then we have r. R is a variable. R is a variable because R vary. If I move the theta, R vary. R delta R j unit vector delta theta delta R of the jth part, delta theta of the ith part. If I did cross product r unit vector, theta unit vector, they will go to the perpendicular to this circle. If this is theta and this is r and this is theta, then the cross product will go perpendicular to the axis. If I take magnitude of this area of the ISJS section, or I can say delta A also, magnitude, it will come to this level only. R into delta R JS section delta theta of the IS section. Okay, this can be considered a function over R and theta, function over R and theta, and delta R delta theta. If I have a function over R and theta delta R, it is a fit case to convert into integral calculus. We have given example. Consider this is theta R axis. Combination of theta and R, we have theta R axis. This is function over theta R axis. If I say I have at a particular R and theta, I have a particular R and theta. Consider I chop it into m into n part. I have a theta R axis. I chop it into m into n part. Okay, at particular part, I have function over theta and r, that is the vertical, and width is delta theta into r. If I multiply like this, I get the area of a subsection. If I add for all, then it is as good as, consider there is a function, there is actually a curve called function over theta and r. This is a curve that is a function over theta and r. This is a curve that is function over theta and r. This is theta and r axis. This is function over theta and r axis. This is a curve called function over theta and r. If I take any theta r, then this is function over theta and r that touches this point. And if I multiply that vertical with the horizontal, that is theta and r, multiply this vertical with the horizontal, that is delta theta r, I get this subsection area. If I add for all I and j, I get the full area. That is function over theta r d theta r. Okay, it will become r d theta dr, summation of theta and r. Okay, then is it not the same that what we calculated in last week? What is r d theta? Then it will r square by 2. And then r and radius of the circle, radius goes from 0 to a, then a square by 2. Angle goes 0 to 2 pi, then it is 2 pi. 2 pi a square is the area. Same thing. Here is the catch actually. Now I have come to a conclusion that if I integrate theta r from begin to end, what we are trying to do now? What integral we are getting? Function over theta r delta theta r or d theta r. D theta r I can rewrite as d theta dr, means delta theta I delta rj converted into d theta dr. Function over theta and r is r d theta dr, where theta goes from 0 to pi. If I see the circle that is formed by r equal to cos theta, theta goes from 0 to pi only, not 2 pi. Theta is 0 to pi. Radius goes from, radius is if I calculate if I see the radius, then radius is 0. Radius, the minimum point of the radius is 0. Otherwise it goes till cos theta. Radius is variable here. Radius is variable here. Radius will not be 0 to a, the way we are thinking. In any circle, radius will go 0 to a full. But this is not the origin. Origin is here. Radius will go, at any time radius will be cos theta, depend upon the theta. Okay, and it will come, minimum will be 0. 0 to cos theta, radius will keep changing as per the theta. So limit of the radius will be 0 to cos theta, not 0 to a. Here is the catch. Here it is different. Otherwise, the area calculation of the ith subsection, it is same. Radius vector and arc vector cross product will give the area vector, where r is variable. In earlier r is a variable in the sense. Anyway, in earlier case also, when we take the full circle, r is variable, but limit is constant. R is going 0 to a. Here r is going 0. R is going 0 to cos theta. So now we will try to calculate the area. Theta is 0 to pi. and r is 0 to cos theta, r d theta, r square by 2. Okay, then 1 by 2 will come out, r square will become cos square theta. Cos square theta d theta, that will be theta by 2 plus sine 2 theta by 4. Theta is 0 to pi. If I put pi, it will be pi by 2. So pi by 2, sine will go away. 0, all will be 0. Pi by 2. Outside we have 1 by 2. Pi by 4 is the area. Is it really true? If I have a circle which has a radius 1 by 2, the area will be pi r square. Pi 1 by 2 whole square. Pi by 4 1. It is perfect. Okay, there is a little confusion or unclarity when we calculate the cross product of to calculate the ith section area. Summation I equal to 1 to n, summation j equal to 1 to m delta a, area of the air section belonging to I comma j. There we took cross product of radius vector, cross product of the radius vector and the arc vector to calculate the area of the ith section, where radius is variable. If I take any ith section, then this radius is variable. This radius and this radius are different. Okay, angle is anyway variable. So there is a delta r, total delta r, but we are calculating the ith section. We went with the way we did in a previous manner where radius is not variable, radius is constant. In that fashion, this r vector is delta r and this vector is r delta theta I. And rather than to make the radius variable, we use the limit terminology. If someone can settle down here only in the variation of radius, that will be great. So that if we can find out, then we can talk. We will use another fundamentals also to calculate the ith section through. Main is, first you divide the problem into n different parts or m into n part if it is a area, or m into n into alpha part if it is a volume. Then calculate the volume or area of the one part through vector. That is the concept. Through vector. Okay. Then sum it for all n part and then make n tends to infinity. Why we did n tends to infinity? Because when we were trying to calculate the ith area, the arc we took is a straight line we took. We took 2 points in polar coordinate system and we subtracted it to get the vector. If this is the in angular fashion, radius is all right. This is the delta r, that is all right. But if I take the arc should be a curved line. We took a straight line. To end of the arc, one point is r comma r theta, another point is r comma r theta plus delta theta. Then we subtracted it to get the vector. So if I do cross product of this straight line and this straight line, it gives the area underneath, that is true. But this is false. This is not a straight line. To make it as a straight, the arc is not a straight line. Okay, we should have taken the area where it is making ith section. One side is arc, another side is also arc, and these two are a straight line. Okay, in that fashion, I have taken a straight line rather than arc. To get the arc and straight line behave the same, this angle should be tends to 0. If angle tends to 0 means I have to cut n into n part, n tends to infinity. Similarly, m tends to infinity. If I do that, then what? Then summation will convert into integral. So first you have to find the nth and ith and jth part into vector and then bring it to summation and then make n or m tends to infinity if it is required. It is required here because a straight line and curved line are not same. To make a straight line and curved line same, I have to chop into n part, n tends to infinity. If angle is very small, then curve will behave like a straight line. Then it will be smooth. Okay, I believe it is all right. I'll try to settle down what I have said if it is possible. Otherwise, in vector fundamental only, we will proceed here in other way. Please do not mind supporting us. +91 is the India country code, 9483160610 is the telephone number. These are all research based. Probably people would not find in the book. +91 is the India country code, 9483160610 is the telephone number.